If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs. I know the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA...
Given that so few people watched the WNBA playoff sands, Caitlin Clark were probably not watchable. We're talking about a dramatic drop from 1.8 million viewers to just 161,000.
Ratings for Game 1 have got to be disappointing for Kat Engelbert in the WNBA front office. There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than 1.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelbert is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way. There were 3 other games in the WNBA on Sunday night.
Everyone is now questioning if the WNBA is truly in danger without its newest superstar, because that is a nosedive rather than merely a dip.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years. Some people get famous on art.
Let's talk about Clark for a second. She changed the course of events rather than just showing up.
From merchandising sales to new sponsorships to television ratings absolutely going through the roof to attendance to sellouts at basketball games to all-star games with record attendance both in person and on television. It is safe to say, North America, that the Caitlin Clark effect has taken over the WNBA at this point.
The WNBA would be dealing with empty seats and embarrassing TV numbers without Clark. IT was entirely up to her to turn the Indiana Fever from a team that no one cared about to a playoff contender. Can you imagine going from nobody to someone that quickly?
WNBA ratings are embarrassing without Caitlin Clark. 0 games have sold out in the playoffs. Outside of Caitlin Clark, there was not a single game that eclipsed 500,000 viewers. Hell, they weren't even close to doing that. Once she is eliminated.
As we'll discuss why this is so crucial for women's basketball, consider how the Indiana Fever went from being just another team to being a playoff contender, all thanks to one individual. The question is the WNBA putting all its eggs in one basket? And what happens if that basket breaks?
Woman is box office, plus she can play. And the combination of the two would ultimately...
The worst part is that, in addition to changing her team, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the entire WNBA playbook.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude.
When we talk about Clark's rookie season, we're not only talking about amazing figures, we're also talking about measurements that basketball historians take notice of.
I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
In her playoff debut, Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to score at least 25 points, bring down 5 rebounds, and dish out 5 assists. Not only are records being broken, but new benchmarks for excellence are also being set.
We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay? I look at it from that standpoint and I say mad respect. Are there other players in the WNBA?
Clark scored 18 points on average. Who else has scored that many points in the playoffs? He averaged 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block per game over the playoff series. This stat line has never been matched by any player in WNBA history. Now that we're in Michael Jordan territory, you might be asking, wow, those are some impressive stats, but what does this mean for the league? Let me share a thought with you.
Because at the end of the day, with her WNBA rookie season complete, let's see it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history.
Would have overlooked the fact that the Indiana Fever were in the league before to Clark, but they now had to watch television.
Career 10 or more assists in a game. How about that, franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game? Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 three-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever. 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. That's not a rookie record. That's just a record for anybody.
Clark did more than simply improve the team. She quickly turned them into contenders.
And the attention that she brought to a woman's league and a women's side, if you will, of the sport is just, I think, hopefully going to have a residual effect for years to come.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a fact.
But Clark's influence goes far beyond what happens on the court. It's not just about hardwood floors.
Looking at some of the numbers here, when we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
As you would have imagined, a record amount of fans are attending WNBA games. Who are they? Caitlin Clark.
Trickled up to the WNBA this season as the league has seen unprecedented growth thanks to the emergence of a strong rookie class headlined by #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark. So WNBA released a report recently. Numbers are beyond impressive. Attendance is up 156% from last year, and more than half of all WNBA games this year have been sellouts. This year's televised games are averaging 1.32 million viewers, nearly triple last season's average of 462,000. Continuing, the WNBA's online merchandise stores already set a single season sales record with more than 4 months left in the season, and sales are up 756%.
Since she is now the face of women's basketball, she is more than just a player. How often do you see a WNBA player create this much buzz? Clark is attracting not only basketball fans, but also people who have never attended a women's game.
The WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league.
She is giving the WNBA a renewed sense of importance, but this is where things get complicated because Clark has grown so quickly that it seems like the league is depending on her. This brings us to the important question. Is this good for the WNBA? The adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket, applies here. But the WNBA learned that lesson the hard way when Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. Now that the league is facing a reality check, everyone is wondering if they just blew their golden ticket. And let me tell you, this goes far beyond simply losing a top player.
So if we look at this chart for the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever are pretty much blowing out every other team. They are averaging almost 16,000 per 39 games. So this is taking into consideration not only the Indiana Fever home games, but also when they are on.
Let us talk about numbers for a bit. Indeed, half of the seats are empty for playoff games instead of the packed venues that were the norm during Clark's games.
Caitlin Clark, we all know that. They are now seeing that the Clark effect is living up to the hype.
From a draft party.
Yeah, baby,
where nearly 6,000 people attended.
Look at the crowd here. You can see where she ranks on anticipation. This is amazing to have. I was here for the draft party a few years ago, and it was nothing compared to what it is now. This is amazing.
To the team store, where gear is flying off the shelf.
This is where things get very ugly. The WNBA is losing money in addition to spectators in the stands. Can you imagine walking into an arena that should be teeming with playoff excitement only to find it seems more like a ghost town? That's the new NBA reality.
Is going to get a rude awakening because 2 million, that click, 2 million of their fans just turned the TV back to the NFL.
The WNBA receives $200 million a year from the NBA to keep it afloat, yet the NBA makes around $7 billion from TV deals alone. This isn't just a discrepancy, it's a Grand Canyon-sized gap, and I'm not talking about spare cash.
The most dominant team in the league, they can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals. They supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new big three? Dreamers, Liberals. 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix Masculines and the Minnesota Lynx.
Well, they must have a plan to fix this. You might be thinking at this point, this is where it gets insane, so hold on to your hats. Everyone is perplexed by the NBA's marketing strategy, or lack thereof, and to make matters worse, they haven't released a single commercial featuring Caitlin Clark.
They should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though?
Furthermore, the league's entire star promotion approach is being criticized. The WNBA is nothing more than a polished turd without Caitlin Clark, according to one analyst. This is not only harsh, it's a wake-up call since the league has been riding high on Clark's stardom but has neglected to put in place a safety net. What does all of this mean for women's basketball going forward? This might be a game-changing event for the league as a whole, not just a poor season. 2024, the WNBA is estimated to bring in $200 million in revenue. Just for comparison, the NBA is expected to earn $13 billion. The WNBA has historically lost around $10 million per season. Without Clark in the playoffs, the WNBA is losing fans faster than a leaking faucet, and in a society where fame is equated with wealth, it is a death sentence.
Elsie Mitchell on here instead of Caitlin Clark? The face of your entire league. You left off this promotional graphic. Again, Kelsey.
Nonetheless, the WNBA had a great chance with Clark, and they could have used her fame to promote other athletes and create captivating stories that would have kept fans engaged even when she wasn't playing. Instead, they placed all of their money on one player, and now they're paying the price.
But the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key. And are they going to be pointing fingers and blaming Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans whenever the ratings don't stay the same?
Now that the WNBA is experiencing issues, you might be wondering what will happen next, but get ready, because the answers might surprise you. We're not just talking about a temporary fix. Rather, we're talking about a complete overhaul that could change the game forever. Let's start by discussing marketing. Even though the WNBA has been riding the Caitlin Clark wave, it's time to spread the love.
The attendance numbers in New York and Las Vegas last night, they were the same as Sunday night. There has yet to be a sellout in the WNBA playoffs. They couldn't even sell out the 9,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut for the playoff debut of Katie Rude. It was the closest they came to a sellout, but it still wasn't sold out.
Imagine a WNBA league where every player has a unique backstory. Our objective is to make every game seem important by creating rivalries that generate discussion even when the major players aren't there. Let's now talk about the players who are waiting for the next Caitlin Clark to land in their laps.
She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve their praise.
They must be out there discovering talent, perfecting their art, and creating the stars of tomorrow. Imagine participating in a league where you are inspired by a player on each squad. What I just saw is astounding.
I feel like she's coming in, and from a marketing standpoint, yes, have eyes on her, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because at the end of the day, we can't predict the future. We just can't.
However, if the WNBA wants to keep fans engaged, it needs to create storylines that span more than one game or season. We're talking about creating team identities, igniting intense rivalries, and giving fans something to cheer for even on their favorite players' bad nights. And let's not forget about the money. The WNBA needs to seriously consider diversifying its revenue sources. It can't just rely on ticket sales and TV deals for this. Please leave a baby goat comment below if you agree with Caitlin. Turn on all notifications, like, and subscribe to ensure you don't miss anything.